We're going to show you how to make a bear battle belt and why you need one. Hello everybody, welcome back to LocaCarnivore. I'm your host as always, Nigel, the slightly better than average ninja. And today we're going to show you how to make a bear battle belt, and we're going to tell you why you need a bear battle belt. Please subscribe to our channel, we'd appreciate it. Give us a big thumbs up, like the video, ring that little bell when you subscribe, that way you'll get notification of all of our future videos and you won't miss a single thing. Don't forget to go down into the comments and rip it up down there. Tell us what you think about our video, what you think about us, hey, what you think about anything. And another reminder, we at the moment don't get any monetization from or financial support from, well, from anybody. YouTube, sponsors, we don't have anybody like that. So, and we don't even sell any merch. Well, at least not yet. If you would, we'd appreciate your help. If you go to Patreon, the link's down below in the description, and support us there. That way we can have more budget to give you better videos and more videos, and you will benefit the most by learning from us. So just exactly what is a bear battle belt? This is a bear battle belt. It's the same concept that all of the, I guess the groovy cool high-speed operators these days have gone to. Instead of having all their web gear and everything, they're just going with plate carriers, and then most of their equipment, mags, etc., handgun, etc., are on a large, heavy padded belt, which makes it easy to get on and off. You don't have to take the plate carrier on and off, or if you take the plate carrier off, you still got your handgun and your mags and everything, which is great. We took the battle belt concept and decided to apply it to living, hunting, recreating in bear country. So why do you need a bear battle belt? Well, simply put, you need to have all of your bear defense equipment with you all the time. And having your bear spray tucked in a pocket, like in your pants or in your backpack or something, and maybe a handgun also on the pack or just wherever, that's not always the best idea. And there are times when you're going to need your bear defensive equipment, if you live in bear country, when you're not going to have your bino carrier and your backpack and all this other good stuff on, and you just simply need your bear defensive equipment. Let's face it, if you are attacked by a bear, you're no longer having what is euphemistically called a wildlife encounter. You're in a life or death combat situation. You are in a battle with one of the most dangerous land predators on the planet, especially if it's a grizzly bear. These animals are immensely powerful. They can flip boulders several hundred pounds in weight over with one paw. They can flatten an elk if they hit it full chat while charging. They can rip open metal cans. They can go through doors. They smash through windows, rip the siding off of houses to get into places. They're immensely powerful creatures. They're very fast too. At full speed, they can run approximately 35 miles per hour. They can get up to full speed in just a few bounds. So from 0 to 35 miles an hour in maybe 8 to 10, 12, 15 yards at the most. A bear moving at 35 miles an hour covers 50 yards in approximately 1.5 seconds. So it's imperative that you have your bear defensive equipment on you at all times. Now keep in mind, you should, when you're in bear country, strive to avoid a bear encounter and also know how to deal with a bear, so to de-escalate that situation and make sure that bear moves off and is not a hazard to you or anybody around you and the bear. Let's face it, bears are magnificent animals. Unless we're hunting them, we don't want to hurt them if we don't have to. They have a bona fide niche in the ecosystem. They belong out in the wild. That's where they live. And we are in their territory when we're moving around in bear country. So it's up to us as the people, as the creatures with the higher cognitive capacity, to do the best we can to avoid the bear encounter. However, There are times when, no matter what you did, the bear encounter, a bear attack is forced upon you. It's not something you can avoid. You either surprise the bear, or the bear just simply, for whatever reason, because you don't know the bear's day when you run into them, they decide to attack you. If you are attacked by a bear, as we said before, you are in a fight for your life. And it might sound cliche, but at that moment, at least, you need to have a combat mindset. You need to have the mindset that says, not only am I going to survive, I'm going to win this encounter. I am going to be the dominant creature that walks away from this. And if necessary, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to defend my life and make sure that bear does not injure me severely or kill me. As we said earlier in the video, a bear battle belt is a battle belt designed to hold the equipment you need to deal with a bear encounter, a violent bear encounter, and protect your life. So let me tell you how I arrived at the bear battle belt concept and why I think it's a good idea. First of all, living in bear country, as I do, anytime you go outdoors, you could encounter a bear. I've lost track of how many times I've just been outside and bumped a bear, whether they're pulling a berry bush apart or just traveling through, whatever they're up to on that particular day, but there is a bear, and it's a sobering experience. And you realize after a few of these that it's not enough to just have a happy feeling in your heart and goodwill towards all, because that bear is a wild animal and potentially very violent and lethal to you under the wrong circumstances. So that's why we came up with the bear battle belt. So what did I try earlier? Well, of course, I've carried a variety of handguns as bear defensive handguns. And by the way, a handgun is not a primary means of defense against a bear. It is, like handguns are for all situations, it's an emergency or a backup weapon. It's the weapon you use to get your long rifle, long gun, shotgun, whatever it might be, that you should not have left behind or left against the tree. It's a last-minute, last-ditch weapon. So what did I try before? Well, I tried a variety of holsters, usually belt slide type holsters. Like this is one from Don Hume Leather. This is really nice. Try to get that a little closer for you. And it just goes on your belt. This is for an end frame Smith & Wesson revolver, and it fits very smoothly. And the reason I wanted something like this and very minimal is because during the course of the day I can be doing studio work like I'm doing right now, or I might have to go outside very briefly or go out and do some chores, whatever. And I wanted the ability to have a holster just basically on me, but not in my way when the gun's not on. I want the ability to take the gun off from time to time and then be able to put it back on very quickly and seamlessly. And this offered a reasonable solution for a time. However, the more I thought about it, first of all, this holster, even as minimal as it is, can still get kind of uncomfortable when you're sitting in a chair. It gets kind of in your way. And also it's difficult, this particular one is difficult to holster the weapon. It needs two hands. You have to be careful with it because it doesn't really hold its shape very well because it's not very bulky or rigid. So it's a little compromised design. It's compromised in the direction of convenience as opposed to the direction of a really good all-day carry bear belt or holster. The other problem is there's no retention on this, so if you were to slip or you got knocked down or whatever it might be, then you might lose control of the weapon, and now you've got a loose weapon, or at least it's not in your hands. Hopefully the bear doesn't know how to operate it. That would be very embarrassing to be shot by a bear with your own gun. Go tell that to everybody. Could get on YouTube though. So I tried a variety of these types of holsters and with different guns, and ultimately I decided what I really needed was the ability not only to carry the gun, but I realized I needed to carry other equipment because I don't want to have just a lethal solution to the bear. I want to have non-lethal alternatives as well. Killing the bear or shooting the bear is the last resort when your life is on the line and nothing else has worked or is going to work. So I want to be able to carry the bear spray, and then I thought about things like, hey, you know, during turkey season or whatever, spring or fall, I might be rolling out, going to find a turkey I hear gobbling off in the timber, and I might be launching forth and all I've got is a shotgun with bird shells in it, and that's not necessarily easy to reload, or it takes time to put then bear slugs into it. Brennicke bear slug is what I carry and use. So it would be helpful to have all the bear equipment on there for a quick rollout. So I decided, well, what would be the best way to do it? First of all, just carrying a big heavy gun like this Springfield Armory 1911 Ronin in 10 millimeter, or something like a Glock 20, 44 Magnum revolver, you name it. These are heavy guns, and you need a heavy duty, thick, not very flexible belt to hang them onto. So the average belt, that then meant that with the belt slide type holsters, what it meant was I had to wear a very stiff belt all the time. And sometimes I don't have pants that accept a belt necessarily. I wanted to be able to put it on when I needed it, take it off when I didn't want it. It had to have all of my bear equipment on it, and it had to be of a construction that would support heavy gear. Let's talk about how to actually make the bear battle belt. First of all, what you're going to want for a basis is a standard military issue 2.5-inch wide web pistol belt with the eyelets and everything and the Fastex buckles and all that. That's going to be heavy enough and stiff enough and wide enough. And the width is important because that'll distribute that weight on your hips more evenly, and it won't be so jabby on you. And you can also put the pads on if you want. It just depends. You can set this up any way you want. I'm just showing you how I did mine. So we're going to start with a mil-spec web pistol belt. And to that, you're then going to attach a holster of your choice. In this case, it's a Safariland ALS polymer holster with the, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it has the clamp type mechanism. So it's a little clamshell thing. You can take it on and off quite easily. So if you wanted to put a different holster on or whatever, that's fine. And then I also put on the holster, if you can call this floppy lycra thing a holster, for my bear spray. This one's from Counter Assault. That's the brand of bear spray I use. It's not necessarily an endorsement, but it is the one I use. And it's sold commonly in bear country areas. And then I go a little further. I also attach this is meant to go on the stock of a shotgun as extra ammo loops, but they make terrific holders for shells that can go on your belt. You do have to adjust them a little bit when you first put the belt on because obviously the weight sags down. This just has game loads in it, but you can put your bear slugs in there. You could also use it for centerfire rifle if you have a dangerous game rifle you use or whatever it might be. So I like that feature. So I've got all the things I'm going to need. And if you don't want the shells on there, you can leave the holder on and just take the shells out and set them aside, and then this will fit flush if you sit in a car or on a quad or whatever it might be, one of those side by side. So I told you about how to make this belt, and this is my quick reaction / casual belt, because now what I can do is I can just put this on, and let me show you with the equipment on it. So here you see the bear battle belt with the equipment on it. I've got a Springfield Armory Ronin 10 millimeter 1911. Again, don't freak out about the type of gun. You can put anything you want on there, any holster type that'll fit on the belt. And then I've got a standard size aerosol can of bear spray, the Counter Assault brand bear spray. You can also use the larger Magnum. It's just however much weight you want to carry. Frankly, this kind of belt, I don't want any more weight than I have to have. And of course, as you can see, I've got my turkey loads for if I have to go out and find a turkey or something. Let's talk about a heavy duty bear battle belt. Well, first of all, we've got the basic web belt, of course. Now, what I've done is I've augmented it with some surplus US issue LBE, that's low bearing equipment suspenders. These are the really old school type from the 1960s and 1970s era. that are made out of web cotton. The more modern versions were made out of web nylon. I prefer the cotton ones because A, they're quieter, and B, they're a little more form-fitting, and they don't slip and slide, and you can put stuff over the top and it doesn't slip and slide off. So big advantage there. However, if you live in a very humid environment, these will tend to damp rot after a while, which was a big problem. That's why they went to nylon after our experience in Vietnam. At any rate, that's what I use, and then I put on, as you can see, I've got some rather heavy equipment on it. I've got a Smith & Wesson .629 revolver, 44 Magnum, and that I carry in a Bianchi UM84R holster, which now Bianchi says this is for medium frame revolvers. If you do enough wiggling, it'll actually accept a large frame revolver like the N frame. It probably won't take the super large revolvers like the Ruger Red Hawks, but the Smith & Wesson N frames, it will fit. Yes, I use a flap on mine because there is no thumb brake system that goes on the R model. The R stands for revolver. The regular M84, UM84 has a thumb brake you can put on for your automatic pistol. So if you're running a Glock or 1911, that would work for you and you wouldn't have to use the flap. But I also like the flap because if I'm out and it's raining or especially snowing, it keeps the weapon clean. And frankly, I've had weapons get plugged with snow to where they would not operate. They just became frozen. So keeping the weapon dry and clean to me is more important than instant access. I then have I would put my bear spray right here. I don't have it on right now. Probably should have put it on. But my bear spray would be here or here. So it's ready to go. I also have a knife. In this case, it is a Cold Steel Recon Tanto. And I do carry a large knife for this application, for the Bear Battle Belt application. Because again, remember, it's that combat mindset. You need to have the idea that you're going to go into you're going to be in an actual fight for your life. So a little tiny hunting knife's not going to get the job done. I want something that's going to reach deep and inflict some significant stopping damage on that animal if it gets down to the point where I'm basically in a knife fight with a bear. Sounds ugly, and it would be, but things could happen. So, and then I always carry a reload. I've got a HKS speed loader with 44 mags. If you're running a semi-auto, obviously this would be a mag carrier, and I put it up here because this thing from Uncle Mike's doesn't fit on the 2¼ inch web belt. So if you're using an automatic, there are plenty of mag carriers that'll fit on this military pistol belt, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. But as you can see, the suspenders hold up the belt, and you want this extra support, trust me, when you're carrying a lot of heavy gear, and this makes it much more comfortable to work around. Now, this is not something I'm going to just put on and off all the time. This is something I'm put on and I'm going to keep it on for a while. I'm going on a hike, I'm going on an extended hunt, taking the dogs out, whatever it might be. So that's why I want this larger, heavier system, and it's going to stay on me. I'm not going to be taking it on and off because you can see I've got quite a bit of equipment on here. All right, let's show you how the quick reaction / casual Bear Battle Belt works. You put the belt on, this clips on, and there you go. And notice it doesn't matter if you have a belter on or anything. I've got right now, I've got my, got them from Cabela's years ago. These are my Windstopper Polar Fleece pants. There is no provision for a belt. There's no belt loops. So if I need to put the belt on, I want a bear weapon on, my Bear Battle Belt, I've got the ability to just put this on. It doesn't matter what else I've got on, and I can take it off very quickly. I've got my bear spray, and you do have to, in the back here, arrange the shot shells if you're going to carry shot shells, so that they're a little bit better arranged and more comfortable for you. But as you can see, this just comes on and off very quickly, very easily. And yes, the 1911 is hammered down. For those who aren't familiar with the 1911 and those who are, yes, I would normally carry this cocked and locked, but being how this is a YouTube video and we don't want to upset the fine folks at YouTube, We're just going to keep that hammer down, make it look nice and safe. And of course, as we said in the disclaimer at the beginning of the video, all of our weapons are always safety checked prior to the beginning of shooting any of our videos. You can see how well that works. It's nice and comfy, distributes that weight, sets it on the hips, distributes it around real easy. And I can wear this if I'm doing chores, taking care of livestock, whatever it might be. And I can also, since it's at a good angle, I can get in and out of a vehicle or whatever I might need to do. And then when I'm done, I take it off. I actually take the gun out first. You should generally never put a belt on with the gun in the holster if you can help it. It's always been my opinion, and then holster the weapon. But you can take the weapon out, make sure it's safe, put it where you need it to be, put it in your locker, lock it up, whatever you need to do, and then take the belt off. Well, that concludes our video on how to make a bear battle belt and why you need one. We thank you so much for watching us one more time. And don't forget to subscribe, like, ring that bell, comment, and go support us on Patreon and visit us at LocaCarnivore.com. Thank you again.